Who are you in the chaos? Who are you in the chaos? How do you show up in the crisis? Are you swayed every which way? Reed blowing in the wind, as the word says? Are you able to stand stable and stay put and know and remember and remind yourself and affirm yourself who you are, who you were created to be, and how you show up? Hey, it's Neca Smith, and welcome back to the GreatBIG Life TV, where we talk about all things midlife transition. So this video is not necessarily like learning or lessons. This is just some wisdom for the day, if you will. A little pep talk for you. So I recently had some meetings. In one of these meetings, I was told that my performance was not up to par and I wasn't doing what needed to be done. And initially, right, I'm like, wait, hold up. What you talking about? What do you mean? Right? The second meeting I had, like right after that, was a meeting where I'm told, like, oh my gosh, you're the greatest. You're amazing. We love you so much. Oh my gosh, we cannot wait for you to do this wonderful thing. And I left that meeting thinking, you know what? I am pretty good. I know. And what I came to realize is that when confronted with truths, whether it is you didn't do that great or you did amazing, depending on whatever the situation is, you have to be very clear about who you are. You need to know who you are. Let me repeat that and emphasize the words differently. You need to know who you are, not what other people say. The news that my performance wasn't up to par, or this hearsay really is what it was, quite honestly, but this hearsay that was happening could have ruined my entire day, my entire week, my entire month, my entire life if I let it. And the news that I was great and wonderful and amazing could have inflated my ego. It made me think I was better than all of y'all, okay? And the reality is, while I might not have done my best, right, or things didn't really turn out in the way that they could have, okay, I can start over. And while I might be good or great or wonderful, I'm not, I ain't all that, right? Like, I'm not gonna let that get to my head. So the lesson for me was making sure I had a healthy perspective of who I was, number one, and knowing who I was, knowing who I am, and having a healthy perspective of who you are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what your flaws are, what your gains are, right? Failures, successes. You need to have a healthy perspective of the fact that you're a full, whole person. And when I talk about this idea of being your full, whole, authentic self, it is accepting the things that are not so great about you. You are not all of that. But you also are all of that, right? Yeah. Like having that healthy perspective that you can receive constructive criticism and take it and use it for your benefit. And you can receive praise, right? And take it and use it for your benefit. And that could have been a day where I could have been like at both ends of the pole of emotions. Could have been either one really angry or pissed that somebody would say that, right? Or two really sad or depressed because, wow, like I didn't do a good job. I didn't show up in the way that I could have. On one end of the spectrum. The other end, again, I could have been really inflated in my ego and just ignored these critiques, right? I could have ignored those critiques and not really improved, right? Or made whatever changes I needed to make. Because where I am now in my life, I'm not trying to be perfect at anything. I think I spent too much time trying to do that. I think if I were in my 30s or my 20s, I would have spent a lot of time trying to be perfect and trying to, make everything right. And I've spent too much time doing that. And so I'm going to do my best. I will do my best to do the right things, but I'm not going to kill myself. And if it don't work for you, it don't work for you. That's fine. We're okay. Everything will be all right. But I'm also not going to not do the work or do what I need to do because my ego has been inflated, right? I'm having a idea or view of myself that really is above where I actually am. I believe in being optimistically realistic, that there's always room for improvement and there's always room to grow and to be better. But going back to my original point, know who you are, know where you stand, know that, be very clear about that. And if you are having issues with really knowing who you are, in this phase of life, we change so much, our identity has become something different. And that is where I want you to explore. That is why we have the Great Big Life Cycle. That is why I talk about this transition and transformation, because I no longer really identify with this overperforming, overachieving woman, right? In some ways, I still do, but in a lot of ways, I don't. I don't have to show up as her. I can show up as me. And again, that can shake the foundation of things and of people who are used to you showing up a different way, because when your identity changes and when you change your identity, it messes with their identity too. But that's another video, another time, another conversation. But at the end of the day, know who you are, know what you bring to the table that is good and bad, and decide what you want to improve upon, right? If you want to improve on it, and if you don't, but just know who you are and be very clear and don't be swayed by what other people say about you and what they think. You need to know what you think about you and if that's satisfactory to you. Period. Point blank. I think it's really important that you use this time in your life to understand who you are in this phase. What is your identity at this point? You've changed, life has changed. And if you're still living your life based on what other people think or based on a past version of you, you're going to have some difficulty and challenges dealing with the person that is in front of you today, because you're not living authentically. But you can't really do that, though, if you don't know what it is to be authentic anymore. Or if you've never known that. There are some people that are 40, 50, 60 years old that don't understand authenticity. They don't live authentically. And they are good and grown. Still, they're living a version of them that works for other people, that used to work for them, that just doesn't anymore. And so they show up in a way that really becomes unhealthy for you. And if you haven't watched my midlife and mental health video, go check that out. But I think it's really important to take this time, use this time very wisely, because this is such a pivotal moment. And when people say pivotal moments, I don't think they realize what it means, like to pivot, to turn around, to make a shift. If I'm going this way, I'm pivoting. Right now, I'm going that way. So when I say this is a pivotal moment, this is a time where you're going to, you have the ability to, the choice to, you get to make the decision to go another direction, to change, because you're changing anyway. Your body's changing, the world is changing, everybody else is changing, people are dying, relationships are changing, and you are really trying to sit here and make sure everything stays the status quo. That is not the season that you're in. That is not the season that the world is in. So being clear about who you are regardless of what is going on around you, because there is chaos going on all around us. Who are you in the chaos? Who are you in the chaos? How do you show up in the crisis? Are you swayed every which way? Reed blowing in the wind, as the word says? Are you able to stand stable and stay put and know and remember and remind yourself and affirm yourself who you are, who you were created to be, and how you show up. Because that's what's needed in this moment in time for you and the rest of the world, quite frankly, but I'm talking to you. That is my time today. I hope you enjoyed this motivational message from me, and I will see you on the other side. Talk to y'all later. Bye.